You guys could see him in there and just targeted him the whole time?
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I couldn't
see him, but he rolled twice. That's not the one that rolled, though. It was a grilse that rolled. This was a salmon, yeah. By the way, the rod is bent down.
It's going in under that rock. Sure, that's a salmon. Nice fish, Brad. Sure, Brad. Number 3. Here goes another 1,000 cast.
You want a picture of him?
Yeah, and there's lots I can't do, but at the same time, I try to just focus on the stuff that I can do. Like again, like I can't play hockey, I can't golf, stuff like that. But I can still come out here. I can still fish. I bring. I have some mobility aids to help me out with that. But I can still get out on the river and. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm, very grateful for life in general, for my kids, for every day that I have, and yeah. Yeah, my name's Brad Cavanaugh. I live in Bathurst, New Brunswick, and we're just out here today checking out the spawning grounds on the Nepisiguit. It's a beautiful day. It's like 20 degrees on Halloween. Pretty tough to beat that. Yeah, fishing's been a passion of mine for a long time, for a lot of years. And it's just nice to get up on the river anytime. So I grew up in Bathurst. I graduated from BHS and and then eventually moved on to, eventually when I was 26, I joined the military as a pilot, and I went through all the pilot training out west. It took a couple of years, and then was posted back to Shearwater, Nova Scotia, where I flew the Sea King and the Cyclone. Yeah, like that was our primary role with the Sea King. Whenever the Navy frigates would go out, they'd bring a Sea King with them. So, and we'd have there'd be 20 Air Force guys on the ship. With you'd have 2 crews of pilots and 2 crews for the aircraft, and then you'd have your maintenance guys for fixing it. And and it was. It was a good job. I went overseas on 3 separate occasions. We used to land on the back of the ship and take off from the back of the ship, live on the ship. And went to some interesting places in the world. And it was a good career. I was a captain on the Sea King. And that's where I did all my deploying, was with the Sea King. And I was on the first conversion course to fly the Cyclone, and I finished that course, and then not long after that I started having health problems. So I never did actually deploy with the Cyclone, but so I started having problems with my feet, and so just started seeing doctors and investigating, and went for MRIs and all kinds of testing. And anyway, it all ended up with in May of 2019 I was diagnosed with ALS, and that was a tough one. So by the time I was diagnosed, I'd already Googled everything, and I knew what that diagnosis meant. Like you Google the your symptoms and the outlook, and it says like within 3 to 5 years, 90% of people are dead within that amount of time of a diagnosis, and so I mean it was a pretty heavy thing to deal with, and I'm married. I've got 2 young boys. They were 2 and 5 at that time, and it was a pretty devastating thing when the doctor tells you that. Obviously I could not continue my career in the military anymore, it led to my medical release from the forces. Since then I've I basically, like I said, it happened in May of 2019, and I at the time I mourned it for a few weeks, and then I just decided right there to just have a good summer, and from there it's just and then once I had a good summer, then it was okay, let's have a good fall. And then it just kind of, I try not to look too far ahead, just try to do the things I like to do. It just because I'm diagnosed doesn't change my role as a husband and father, especially with 2 young boys. A lot of my focus obviously is on my family. I'm also really fortunate to have lived a life where I have so many good close friends that that are there for me, and that love and care about me. Yeah, and the thing is, every fall, like when the fishing season's done, I'm always it's always in the back of my mind, is this my last year being able to get out to fish, and but I mean, we'll just have to see how the winter goes, and all I can do is the best I can. So I grew up a Devils fan, so ever since the Devils made a run in 1988 when I was 10 years old, and I was when I could first stay up and almost watch a full game at that time, and the Devils made a run to the conference final, and I just I jumped on their bandwagon back then. With there was Kirk Muller and Kenny Danico, John McLean, all those guys back in the day, and I've been a Devils fan ever since. Going down to see your cousin, Jake Allen, goalie for the Devils, and that should be fun. I've been to a few games in New Jersey, and last time I was there would have been with my dad in 2008, and we're going back again. And like one thing about with my disease up until this point, according to doctors that I see on a regular basis, I've thus far been progressing slower than normal, than they normally expect. So I'm very grateful for that. Like I've talked to my wife and my kids about it. Like I've just committed to doing the best I can for as long as I can. and you know, that's all anyone can do, really. So, you know, life is pretty good, really. You know, I got a lot to live for, and